Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Live Your Best Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Whitney Shio.
And I'm your host, Pastor Shio.
And this, of course, is the place where we want to be a source of encouragement and inspiration for all the couples out there, because we are real people with real problems.
Oh, yeah.
Pesa and I have been together for 13 years, and we have 4 children. We definitely know the joys that come from being married, but we also know the struggles that come with marriage as well. So you guys can always reach out to us on Twitter. I'm at Whitney Shio.
And I'm at Pastor Shio.
You can like us on Facebook,
which is Facebook.com/Live Your Best Marriage.
And as always, you can subscribe to the blog. That's where it all began.
Which is Live Your Best Marriage /blog.
Right.
Yes. So what are we talking about today, Whitney?
Well, I just wanted to talk about that feeling that you get when you're putting all of your energy into your relationship and you feel like you're not really getting very much in return.
The feeling of despair?
Definitely.
I don't know what you would call it.
Definitely. No, that's a great way to describe it. Because there are times in life when we feel as though we just keep blessing. We bless again. And then we bless again. We're nice. We're giving. We're forgiving. We're generous. We're lenient.
It seems like you're describing me.
We just try so hard, but then the other person doesn't seem to really
reciprocate, give it back.
Not only reciprocate, but they don't seem to really notice. They don't really seem to care or think that it's a big deal. So you're just giving and giving and giving, and you're not getting anything in return. Right.
So for a lot of folks, that is a perfect situation that they will say, we need to see a counselor.
Mm-hmm. And maybe you've tried that.
Or I just need to shake you.
Maybe they feel like they've tried everything, but they just reach that point where...
By the way, we don't condone violence here at Live Your Best Marriage.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
Here at Live Your Best Marriage. As much as we like to joke around, we don't condone violence.
No,
and that was just... Anyways.
That was totally random.
Yes.
So and this happens a lot with relatives, in-laws, co-workers, just people we know.
Yes.
We feel like we keep giving. We give again. We bless them. We continue blessing.
You bless them.
They just are oblivious to
what you want, what you're doing.
To your kindness and just how considerate you are. And it gets really, really annoying when not only are they oblivious to the nice things that you do, but maybe they're also rude to you.
Oh.
You know, they're actually
hating on you.
They're actually just really inconsiderate. And so, again, when this is an in-law or a relative or someone that you don't live with every single day, it's easier to cope with it.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to just say, you know what, I can continue being nice, and whatever happens. Whatever they're thinking, it has nothing to do with me. I don't have to let it bother me. And life has a way of giving you back what you've been giving, so that person is just going to deal with their own misery.
Yes, but what if it's your spouse?
Yeah. So, which brings me to the next point. What happens when it's a person that you actually see every single day?
You live with, you sleep with, you wake up next to you.
You're in the same house. It's time to cook dinner again. It's time to put the kids to bed again. It's time to see who's going to do the shopping again. it's time to pay the bills. Like, you have to go through all of these things with that person. They seem clueless.
That you are there helping them out or serving them.
They just seem like they don't even notice your efforts, or they don't care.
This is very intense, because this will actually happen over and over and over. It doesn't matter who you are with. There's some seasons in life where you'll feel like you are not getting the love back.
Mm-hmm.
It depends. It doesn't matter who you are with. There's some seasons you feel like, man, this is so great. We are so connected. Everything I do, it's like we are so in sync. I do something, they reciprocate. They just give me back love. It reminds you of when you guys were dating.
Mm-hmm.
Things are just so tight. But there's some different seasons where it feels like, oh my God, there's nothing I can do to get her attention or get his attention. So especially for me, just establishing the fact that this will happen just depends on which season in life. And usually during those seasons, the other person, maybe they are having some emotional issues. They just are not capable of giving back at that time.
Right.
So at that time, we just continue pouring into them, but don't expect anything back. You can also use what my mom and you just say, you do good and you move on. Don't expect, you'll be paid, but it's not going to come from that person. It's going to come from
and
from
I
God.
think that's good. That's really great advice. To don't expect them to bless you in return,
mm-hmm.
but also at the same time, you should not stop.
You should not stop.
Don't stop what you're doing, because it's really, really easy to retreat.
Yes.
And decide that, okay, this is clearly not worth the effort.
No.
I should either give up or just stop trying.
Yes.
And I'm using so much energy when they're not doing much at all.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember back to the Love Dare,
mm-hmm.
For anybody who's ever seen the movie Fireproof, which I'm sure a lot of people
I remember, I've seen it.
Have seen it. Great movie. And that happened to the husband. He was trying.
But he was also cray-cray before.
In the beginning, they were both having a really tough time. But then when the husband did decide to start blessing her, showing kindness to her, and just doing acts of kindness, she blew off everything.
It's like he didn't even exist.
Yeah, she completely ignored every effort.
And he was so frustrated.
And then it even reached a point where she was like, she told him, like, this is really, she's like, I don't know what you're trying to do, but it's not
gonna work.
It's not gonna change anything. And
I think she even had filed.
She did. She did file for divorce. And the really great thing about the story is he did not stop trying. He continued, and he even got to the point where he decided that even if she's not going to reciprocate, he'll just do it anyway.
Yeah.
He'll just do these things out of love. And then, spoiler alert, obviously everything worked out
at the end. Yes.
And you can say, well, yeah, because it's a movie and it's scripted and it has to have a happy ending. But I really do believe strongly that it's worth not giving up.
No.
It's worth it. It is totally worth it to keep trying, because when you come out of the storm, things will be so great that you never even would have imagined how wonderful
things are on the other side.
Yeah.
Yes.
Really. So, and another thing that we talk about a lot in this blog is the fact that if I divorce, I will have the same problems or worse
Yes.
with the new person.
Yeah. Because we always take our issues with us. If we never solve the problem, we just take it with us to the next relationship.
We carry our problems with us, but also the new person is not perfect.
No.
And that's the huge misconception with divorce and then going and starting to date is, you know what, my first marriage was just a total wreck. My first husband didn't get it, but you know what, the next guy is going to be really great.
Oh yeah.
But that's just not, there is no perfect person out there.
There is no.
And that's not, I mean, there are tons and tons of people who have a second marriage or in a third marriage, and it's more successful than the one they had before. So we're not trying to take away from that. We're just trying to say that if you are in that pivotal moment in your marriage and you feel like, you know what, this is just not working out, I need to go and start something new. We just want to encourage you, and just by saying, hey, you know, actually, the relationship that you have right now can be way better than you've ever imagined.
Yeah, and actually you brought up a really good point where you talked about that there's folks who are in the second or third marriage or fourth, whatever marriage, and you are saying, oh, but they're having a great marriage.
Right.
What is true is if you are having a great marriage is because you actually worked on it. So it's not the fact that they moved from first to second or second to third. It's because on this one, they decided to put in the work. So the fact that they moved and changed spouses is not what is making them have a great marriage.
Yes.
The fact that they decided to buckle down.
Yes.
And commit to this relationship and work to make sure this relationship works. And there's a lot of times when you're like, they would feel like this is not gonna work, but they're like, no, instead of going to relationship, the next one, which thinking, oh, if I just change the person, everything will be great, they decide to make that relationship work. And there's a lot of like moving back and forth. It's crazy, but eventually you get to know each other and eventually be able to deal with some of the issues that come in the marriage. Yeah.
Right. And so I think one of the things that is hard to keep in mind sometimes is that nothing is easy.
Yes, because we want it, because it's a marriage, we want it to be happy ever after. Yes.
So when they say the grass is greener on the other side,
because the other person has been really doing a great job taking care of it.
Right. And I heard someone say a couple weeks ago, yeah, it's just a different shade of green. Which I think is really, really interesting, because
yes,
that fits well with the point we were trying to make a few minutes ago about how it's really not going to be better if you stop what you have now and look for something new. I mean, this is just meant to be an encouragement for someone who is just going through that really tough time where they feel like their last resort, or they've reached the last resort, which is going and filing for divorce.
Yes.
So
no, that's not your last resort. There's always a way out of it. Not out of the marriage, but out of that crazy situation in terms of finding a solution. So you might have to compromise. And sounds like I'm oversimplifying this, but I actually have lived with some of these principles that with prayer and creativity, you can always find a way to solve the problem. Now, is it fun? No, it's not fun. At that time, it's like, this is crazy. How can I just go back and say, no, let's figure this thing out? At that time, it's like, I mean, she's not listening to me. I'm not gonna tell her. Like it's just not working.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's what you gotta do.
Yep.
Sometimes that's what you gotta do.
So we actually have 3 tips for you guys, and it's 3 things to think about, really. The first one is, don't expect marriage will be 50-50.
Oh no.
The efforts. Don't expect that you'll put in your specific exact efforts and then you'll get that exactly in return
50-50, yes,
from the other person. No, actually, it's pretty much, if you guys want an awesome marriage, it's 100-100.
You putting
both of you just give it your all. Just everything.
And that's the issue of commitment.
Yeah.
So, because we've talked a lot about commitment at the Live Your Best Marriage podcast. We've talked about commitment, and we've talked about what messes up commitment is the fact that you have doubt. Doubt, which we talked about, some of the synonyms are suspicions of lack of conviction or lack of conviction. Sounds I'm throwing a lot of words, but this actually to me is like the biggest issue, that you are having doubt that this is not going to work. Because you're having doubt, you are not committed. But the doubt also brings something else. You don't go all in because you are not sure.
Yeah.
You feel like if I go all in and it doesn't work, I'll be screwed. So what you do is you hedge your bets. Half, a little bit on the marriage, a little bit on preserving yourself. Saying like, you know what, I'm going to do 50-50, just I'm going to do a little bit in the marriage just to show that I'm working in the marriage, but I'm also holding back just in case things don't work out. So you are not putting all your chips in the table, like, okay, you know what, I'm pushing everything. If I bust out, I bust out. If I don't, if I don't bust out, I'm going to double up.
So no holding back.
No holding back. Just push all your chips in. But for you to do that, you must have that feeling of you don't have any doubt that it's going to work. It's going to be crazy. There will be a lot of crazy feelings and, oh my God, but just push them in. You know what I'm saying? So remove the doubt, commit, and once you commit, you'll go 100%. Going 100%, you are pushing all your chips in the middle of the table. Yeah.
Yes. So even with all of the efforts that you put in, just it's not always, you won't always get that exact amount in return.
No.
From your spouse.
No.
And you won't, sometimes you'll get way more.
Yes, and sometimes this is just like raising kids. The amount of energy you put in, that you won't get it back. Kids, you feel like, oh man, I've been waking up in the middle of the night for the last year just to take care of a child who just became one. And what I'm looking forward to is more of those. You've been putting so much. What are you getting? Maybe you're getting a smile. They don't even know if you are doing that. So don't expect that the fact that you did all this, you're gonna get anything in return. That actually makes it easy. You are actually doing a service. And I'm not saying your spouse is a child.
You do everything out of love.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, the second thing is just keep blessing.
Keep blessing. Just bless.
Keep being generous. Keep showing appreciation.
Yes.
Keep being thoughtful. Just keep being considerate. Don't retreat. Don't get discouraged and think, well, it's going to waste.
Yeah.
It's all for nothing. No, it's never all for nothing. It's actually, it's all going to work out, really.
Yeah, although it doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it. It doesn't always feel like it's going to work out, but just keep blessing.
Just keep
blessing your spouse.
And what does blessing mean? Let me check it out. What does when you say blessing, what do you mean?
Well, I know. We'll wait for you to find the
I know
exact.
I'm huge on getting the definitions, but
I view it as kindness
Mhm.
and generosity and thoughtfulness.
Mhm.
Basically being nice.
Okay.
But we'll get, what does it say?
So, according to the good folks at dictionary.com, they're saying blessing is God's favor and protection. And so you are just giving them favor. You are
Right.
just. And what does favor mean? Whatever.
So,
So this actually makes sense to me. So favor
Right.
is the approval, support, and liking of something or someone.
mhm.
So basically, you are just you're showing that approval and support. So when I think when you're saying keep blessing, keep
Mhm.
showing support.
Yeah.
Support your spouse.
Yep.
Yes.
Be there.
Yes.
Always be there.
Yes.
And that also brings up a really, really interesting point about always take their side.
Yeah.
Always take the side of your spouse.
So if you have your spouse and
Just-
and a relative who comes and like, you know what, Whitney, blah blah blah. That's a perfect example. Like, okay,
Yeah.
I have a friend or a relative who comes and start telling me things about my spouse, negative things about my spouse.
Mhm.
I should literally like cut that nonsense off, and I'm like, no, wait, hold a minute, and take my spouse's my wife's side.
Yeah.
Now, that does not mean when we go home I won't ask what really happened, but in front of these strangers or these people, I should be quick to defend my spouse. I should be quick to show that I am on her side. Okay, when we go in private, I can ask, okay, what really happened?
And I really like that example of always take their side.
Yes.
Always stick up for them.
Like it should
If-
be just like a
there's-
reflex.
And that works. Anytime there's a conflict, always just take your spouse's side. But this also works. Showing favor to your spouse also shows up in other scenarios in life. It can be, just notice when they're tired. Notice when they're feeling inconvenienced.
Mhm.
For example, if you notice that they just don't get any downtime away from the kids,
Yes.
take the kids to the park down the street
Yes.
and just, say, here, cuddle up with a good book and a cup of tea or whatever it is that they like. Help them relax. Or if you're traveling.
Yes.
For me, traveling is the most stressful time for me when I have a baby, which for the last 10 years I've pretty much always had a baby because we have 4 kids. So I either have an infant or a cranky toddler.
Yes.
So traveling, I always need a vacation from the vacation. People try to sell me vacation packages and I'm like, I don't really want it because I'd rather just stay home. I know that sounds really. Anyway,
Yeah.
I could do a whole episode about that.
I guess we are always trying to help folks live their best marriage. If this
Yes.
is our marriage,
Yes.
and it's like
That's just me.
your spouse is actually so stressed out when it comes to traveling, that is your marriage. How can you make it easier for her?
Yeah,
Again.
this is just an example. So if we show up at a family reunion in a different state and somebody suggests, hey, let's go to the beach, but the beach from there happens to be another 4-hour drive. For me, with my little babies, I'm going to be like, okay, guys, please, there's got to be an ounce of empathy somewhere around here. Somebody, please notice what I'm going through because we just traveled 2,000 miles across the country. I really don't want to get in a car and drive another 4 hours to the beach, deal with everything the beach has to offer, and then drive back. Because I've gone through the pain of having kids who are, what do you call it? Overtired?
Yeah.
Overly tired? I don't know how to.
Overly tired.
Overly
so
tired.
They are really cranky.
So they cannot stop throwing tantrums.
Yes.
So anyway, that's just an example. So when you see those things, when you see your spouse going through a hard time, to make a long story short, show them favor.
Yes.
And instead of taking random suggestions from friends and relatives, listen to the preference of your spouse and just honor that.
Yes.
Again, we like to give a lot of really random examples because for everybody it's something different.
Yes.
But we all know how it feels to go through a tough time and then wish that someone was there to speak up for us. So let that person
be your spouse.
Yeah.
And this actually brought something in mind. Whitney has been giving speeches in just local events here in town. And one thing I remind her, because before she gives a speech, she's always worried and
super nervous.
Super nervous. She doesn't know how things will work out. So I'm like, hey, wait, this is what's going to happen. Just know that as long as I'm in the audience, you have one person supporting you. Mm-hmm. Even if everybody thinks your speech is terrible, I will be there to support you. I actually think your speech is awesome. We've practiced at home. We are ready for it. So at least you know you don't have zero support. You have at least one person. I don't know how much does that help you? Just to know if you look at me, when you're in doubt, you just look at me and I'm there supporting you.
At first, I had to think about it for a second. I was like, okay, that's great and everything. But what if the whole audience is like, ugh. But yeah, after that sunk in, I realized that his opinion is the only opinion that really matters to me anyway. Mm-hmm. But that was a really nice source of encouragement, just knowing that he was okay with my performance, even if no one else was. So that's...
And we've been actually trying practicing and everything.
So yeah, when we say keep blessing, just keep looking for ways to show favor to the person you married. Just put that person above other people.
Yes.
And even when your spouse doesn't perform, like just is having a bad day, or maybe they even lash out at you, keep showing them favor just because, hey, you know what? We're married. I'm going to choose you over anyone else.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put you first.
Oh, yeah.
Before anything else. So the third tip is just don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't stop trying.
Up. Yes.
Because we can speak from experience that it is so worth it to keep trying.
Yes.
So don't give up.
And folks, don't give up on your marriage. Keep your marriage strong, and always remember your marriage can be awesome and fulfilling at all times. Use the power of prayer, use the power of creativity, and remember your marriage can be awesome. Folks, we really enjoy presenting this podcast, and if you can just do us a huge favor and comment while you're watching this video, or subscribe if you're listening to this in iTunes, TuneIn, or Stitcher. Just don't forget to subscribe. Folks, until next time, we love you, and bye, and God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you tired of being upset, lonely, feeling empty, or just plain frustrated with your marriage? And no matter how hard you try, you're not getting anywhere, just going in circles? No matter how much you try to make time for one another in your schedule, or how many times you say, I'm sorry, Pesa and I have put together 99 ideas to help you connect with that one special person so that things can start to be more like the way they were before everyday life got in the way and caused the two of you to drift apart. We want you to have 99 ways to show love to your spouse absolutely free. You can find it at 99waystoshowlovetoyourspouse.com. Because here at Live Your Best Marriage, we truly hope that the two of you can move closer together and enjoy the connection that comes from achieving a stronger bond. Again, that's 99waystoshowlovetoyourspouse.com. That's the number 99 ways to show love to your spouse.com.